What's up, fun kids? It's Ellis again. I am a flight student currently at flight school, and so I created this page to read to my girls when I can't be there and they want to hear a story. So on this channel, we'll read chapter books and storybooks. We have read Scooby-Doo Vampire Zoo Hullabaloo, and now we are on to Scooby-Doo Creepy Cowboy Caper. It is also written by Anthony Steele and illustrated by Jeralds. And so we are on to this new one, and then we have a couple other ones to read. I am going to continue to read them, and yeah, so stick with me. Scooby-Doo Creepy Cowboy Caper. Chapter 1. Frightful Warning. The Mystery Machine drove down the thin desert road. The setting sun hung low in the sky. The van left a thin cloud of dust as it zipped along. "Yep, there's no doubt about it," said Fred as he drove. "We're definitely lost." They're lost in the desert. "I think you're right," agreed Daphne. She looked at the large map. "I can't find where we are at all." We have bigger problems," added Shaggy. "What's that?" asked Velma. "Scooby and I are late for a pre-dinner snack," replied Shaggy. Scooby nodded his head. His long tongue flapped from side to side, from each side of his mouth. Yeah, gurgle. Scooby's stomach rumbled. Gurgle. Shaggy's stomach rumbled louder. "My stomach agrees with your stomach, Scoob," said Shaggy. "Look," Daphne pointed through the windshield. "There's an old house up there." Up ahead, a small wooden house sat just off the road. A bearded man sat in the rocking chair on the front porch. "Good eye, Daphne," said Fred. "We can stop and ask for directions." The Mystery Machine pulled up beside the old house. Fred poked his head out of the window. "Excuse me, sir. Can you help us? I think we're lost." The man sprang from his chair. "Jedediah Brooks at your service," said the man. "Happy to help." "Can you tell us how to get back to the main highway?" asked Fred. "Sure thing, kids," said the man. He turned and squinted at the road ahead. "You drive up yonder a ways, then, when you get to the fork in the road, go right. Gurgle, gurgle." Shaggy's stomach growled. Mr. Brooks looked at the front of the Mystery Machine. "You having car trouble or something?" Velma laughed. "No, just some hungry passengers." Daphne looked at the map. "I think I know where we are now. If we take a left at the fork, we'll go into Sladeville, right?" "Sladeville?" asked Shaggy. Maybe they have a burger joint there or something." Mr. Brooks' eyes widened. "Oh, you kids don't want to go to Sladeville. That there's just an old ghost town." "A ghost town?" asked Shaggy and Scooby-Doo together. The entire van started to shake as Scooby and Shaggy shivered in fear. Mr. Brooks eyed the Mystery Machine again. "Are you sure there's nothing wrong with your van?" "Oh, that's just Shaggy and Scooby again," explained Velma. "They don't know that a ghost town is just an old empty town. It's not actually full of a real ghost." "Normally, I would agree with you," said Mr. Brooks, "but folks in these parts say that ghost of the outlaw Eli Slade roams the streets of Sladeville." "They named the town after that outlaw?" asked Daphne. "No, ma'am," replied Mr. Brooks. "The story goes that Eli Slade came into the town one day and took over the place. Made them change the name and the town and everything." The gang looked at Mr. Brooks curiously. Mr. Brooks squinted at them. "I'd steer very clear of Sladeville if I were you." Chapter 2. Ghost Town. Fred drove the Mystery Machine until they reached the fork in the road. He hit the brakes. They had a big decision to make. "Okay, gang," said Fred. "What'll it be? Do we head for the highway or go check out the ghost town?" "I've always wanted to see a real ghost town," said Velma. "Me too," agreed Daphne. "I vote that we head to the highway," said Shaggy. "Me too," agreed Scooby-Doo. Oh, come on, you two, said Daphne. You don't really believe that spooky story, do you? Scooby nodded. Yeah. Velma pulled out a brightly colored cardboard box. She gave it a shake. Would you do it for a Scooby snack? Scooby-Doo shook his head. Velma shook the box again. Would you do it for 2 Scooby snacks? Scooby thought for a moment, then smacked his lips. Okay. Velma reached into the box and pulled out 2 Scooby snacks. She tossed them into the back of the van. Scooby-Doo snatched one of the treats out of the air with his mouth, but before he could get the other one, Shaggy leaned forward and gobbled it up. Like, learn to share, eh, Scoob? Asked Shaggy. Scooby sighed. Okay. That settled it, said Fred. He hit the gas and took the road on the left. It wasn't long before the Mystery Machine passed an old sign with the faded letters reading, Welcome to Sladeville. As they drove closer, they could see several old buildings in the dimming sunlight. There's old Sladeville. Wow, it looks like a real Wild West town, said Daphne. Except a lot spookier, added Shaggy. The Mystery Machine slowly drove down the street. It passed a rundown bank, a dentist office, and a general store. The signs were faded and all the windows were broken. It looked as if no one had been there for a long, long time. I think Mr. Brooks was wrong, said Velma. Good, said Shaggy. I don't want to run into any ghost of Eli Slade. I mean, wrong about this being a ghost town, explained Velma. Look. She pointed to a large building on the corner. It was an old dance hall. Light shone out of the windows in an open doorway. The sound of piano music filled the air. It sounds like someone is having a party, said Fred. Let's check it out. They pulled to a stop in front of the old building. Fred, Velma, and Daphne climbed out of the van. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy stayed inside. Like, I'll stay here and watch the Mystery Machine, said Shaggy. Me too, agreed Scooby-Doo. If that's what you want, said Daphne. But a party usually means snacks. Suddenly, Scooby and Shaggy appeared in front of the van. What are we waiting for? Asked Shaggy. Shaggy and Scooby-Doo led the way as they walked down the sidewalk. When they reached the entrance, everyone peered inside. The room was full of men in cowboy hats and women in long dresses. Look at all those costumes, said Velma. They must be having a Wild West party. The gang stepped inside and they made their way through the crowd. No one seemed to notice them. Scooby-Doo spotted a woman carrying a tray of cheese and crackers. He followed her and reached out to grab a tasty snack. Surprisingly, his paw passed right through the tray. Scooby tried again, and the same thing happened. It was as if the woman was a... Scooby gulped. A roast! He ran back to the others. Raggy. What is it, Scoob? Shaggy asked. Scooby-Doo was so scared that he couldn't speak. He pointed back at the woman. She's a... Come on, Scooby, said Daphne. The snack couldn't have been that bad. Let's see if anyone minds us crashing the party, said Fred. He walked up to the nearest cowboy. Excuse me, sir. Fred reached out to tap on the cowboy's shoulder. His hand passed right through him. Whoa! Fred stumbled back in alarm. He almost bumped into another cowboy. Instead of bumping into him, Fred passed through him. Just then, everyone in the dance hall turned to look at the Mystery Inc. gang. The ghost stared at them with glowing red eyes. Shaggy's knees knocked together. Like, they're all ghosts. Let's get out of here, shouted Daphne. That goes on to chapter 3, Creepy Characters. To my girls, good night, sweet dreams. I'm so proud of you. To everyone else, thank you for listening. See you again.